Welcome in this new video tutorial about how to run Aeroswift with Podman. Because, of course, if you look at some solutions that are close to what Aeroswift is doing, you will probably find also Exec, maybe also other solutions. But yeah, as you know, Aeroswift manage perfectly all the device on USB and also the sound and also the graphics. So, Jenny, it's meant to be used for RF mainly and also hardware. But what I wanted to do also, because after 2 years and after 2 years of using it, I saw students wanted also to use Podman, for example, and also other engine. So I wanted also to provide them that because, in a sort, if you look at, for example, Podman uh, compared to Docker in this website, you will see. The comparison are actually telling about what is going on. So Podman is daemonless, Docker is centralized with a daemon, which is Docker D or container D. And yeah, the security is actually here, is that with Podman, you have a rootless container by default. You can have like a root pool if you want using sudo, but it does not require you to be root. And so Docker instead requires you to be root. Also, you have a faster startup, also, the desktop tools are free GUI. So for some people who does not want to pay the GUI tool for example to work generally, it's a good thing. And yeah, there's like many things that Podman actually do better than Docker. But yeah, Docker has also some nice features. Like for example, it allows us for Aeroswift to do like some nice bindings. But in terms of security, what is actually interesting is that each compared to Docker, where for example you have I mean, a container or Docker daemon that manage all the image containers and so on. You run just a container per session, which is kind of like better in some way. So like that, you don't expose an entire daemon on the on the computer. So yeah, this tutorial will be about how to use Airsoft with Podman, and you will see that um, today you will be able to directly run the container and be able to, run any device inside the container exactly the same way as we do in Docker and without the pain. All right, so now let's do exactly the same exercise as for Docker, but now we just start fresh with, a fresh Debian here. Up like that, we just change a bit the terminal because after a whole day with, a blank terminal, you will have maybe crazy eyes. So let's just like have GNOME dark and it will be better. Perfect. So now I will be able to also use, sudo. I need to also use sudo. So let's just put sudo here like that. So user has been vsudo like that. We jump here. We can do that like that. User, because our user is called user. Perfect. And now we can use. All right. So now we can begin by just going to the website of Aeroswift, aeroswift.io. That. And we can, of course, install everything manually, but let's just take the script, which is much more convenient for us. Of course, curl is not installed. So you can install curl or you can directly use wget that way. And now, compared to the first tutorial, we'll use Podman instead. Of course, we can install both. And I will also show you on other videos how to manage different engine in here. So let's just choose that. So let's say that we know that, this version is good. Exactly like in the first video, you can actually check out the first video to see how we can do that. But yeah, let's change a bit the flavor here. Now we want maybe to just use, this binary on user local installation. And so like that, I have a rootless container using our session. So let's do that. Up that way. The binary will be installed there. So then we need to also install some missing fonts because, without that, it will not be like super beautiful. Still, you can choose to not install them, but yeah, it's better to install them. All right, so we'll also install ASCII-NEMA. And then we can set up our alias here. Perfect. So normally you should be set up here. I need to just refresh the terminal that way. So like that, I can see now AeroSwift here. Of course, the first time you run AeroSwift, it will also ask you if you want to install a profile. Let's say yes, because we don't want to type like a lot of commands here. As you know, everything also is installed here. So AeroSwift config, so you can also choose what kind of device you want to map when you run the device. So now let's just begin with some stuff here. So we'll also do the same way, but now we don't need any sudo. As you can see, we don't need also the user to be privileged here to use Docker. So we just need to look at possible images that are local. For the moment, there's none. Remote. So we'll be installing, for example, SDR Lite, the latest image for SDR. But yeah, of course, you can always check up the documentation. Tells you about, which tools go where exactly. So like that, you can also have an idea of how much tool we have and what kind of tool we have. I mean, there's like plenty of tools. So yeah, I mean, you can have fun. So now let's just pull, the image for SDR Lite like that. Don't need to use sudo. If you use sudo, you will use Podman in root full, and so then the images will go somewhere else. So yeah, that's why be sure that if you download the image, you choose the right the right mode, rootless or root full. And in our side, we are rootless. All right, so now we have been able to download, the image completely. We'll be able to do some nice stuff here. Yeah, also one comment that I didn't show in the first tutorial was doctor also. So like that, it will also show you if something is missing or not. As you can see, for example, the TCP server needs to be on. So we need to use the host audio enable if we want to listen to something. Also for the configuration, it's generally recommended to use shmod 600 for this, configuration file. But yeah, you can also choose not to follow these instructions. But yeah, for the TCP server, it will be also interesting to put it on. So I will just do like AeroSwift host audio enable like that, and we see now it's mounted. We can do like doctor here, and you see the TCP server now is on. So that's perfect. We can also listen to FM radio. Now we will use, I don't know if you remember, but I was using an RTL-SDR, so I will plug like the RTL-SDR and we'll be able to directly use it with Podman. So this is actually mind-blowing because, generally it's like a lot of, let's say, line of commands. Not a lot, but still some commands to do to expose it and to play with it and to play with the UI. But, with AeroSwift, everything is super easy. All right, so now we have all the image. We can actually run AeroSwift like that. Select the image as before, as for the Docker, as the same things as for Docker. We can call it mission one. Let's use this workspace. In the latest video, I show you how to use the workspace, how to configure it, and also disable it. Yeah, let's use default things. Will not mount the volume, but it's generally better if you want to hot plug devices. And we'll see why for Podman it's better to use that, because at some point, it will be painful to just do rebindings all along and along. And rebindings in Podman generates new images compared to Docker. Docker, we didn't have to save the image and to run another image, with the container change. But here with Podman, we need to create an image out of a container every time. So that's why it's better to use volume binding. But yeah, let's use default things. Just make sure that the RTL-SDR is actually plugged in here. And then I will show you with the volume binding, how efficient it could be. So device mapping are the same as for Docker. We use dev bus USB, so it will actually detect the RTL-SDR and mount it and map it to the Docker container like that. And then expose port. We can expose some ports, but let's just run that quickly like that. C groups. C groups are actually not efficient. you cannot use C groups, for example, when your container is rootless. So yeah, it's not something that, yeah, in here, you will have to throw away the cgroups rules. This is not an issue. You will see that with a rootless container, without, I mean, with less rule as possible, we'll be able to run that. So yeah, now let's just go with SDR++ and run SDR++, and you will see up, we can play it like that. But yeah, the problem is that if I'm plugging, for example, the RTL-SDR, here, I'm just like unplugging it. So now it is unplugged, and I'm trying to plug it again. We'll have issue to see it like that. So for example, if I'm just like now, just doing SDR++ again, you see there's no serial. So this is actually the same issue as before, as for Docker. But yeah, this is even worse, because if I'm stopping the container like that and trying to restart it, I will not be able to see it. This is, I mean, the main difference that you can find with, with Podman and Docker. Docker is better for that, because with Docker, I don't need to, I can restart the container. It will actually just show up the dev bus USB. Here, if I'm trying to just start the container again, like that, also I will have like some issues here, because yeah, I'm trying to, we see, try to invoke, the command that actually does not see the dev bus USB 0108, but something else. So because the dev bus USB is actually here now, this is the 009 now. I have unplug and replug the RTL-SDR. So that's why it's better to do like a container like that. So if you want to unplug things without having to rebind, we can just like do like mission 2, for example, sorry, I forgot to mission 2, like that, mount, I will mount that, dev bus USB, so like that. We can plug and unplug devices as we want. It's better. Up. Yeah. Up. The container, C groups, and will not be, anymore. There will not be any more problems with this one. We will be able to just plug and unplug devices. So for example, I'm just calling SDR++. I can see now the RTL-SDR here, like that. I can just unplug the device, like that. So going back here, we can just try to, you see, there's no issue here. So another advice on rootless mode is that you should also put like a dev input also inside the volume binding, because at some point you will also need that. So we can just like do Swift run instead, and not only do like mission, we can do like mission 4, for example, we can mount dev bus USB, dev bus USB, like that, and but also dev input. So the host to the to the container, like that. And so that way, we'll be able to just do everything in there. Of course, you can also just throw away the dev bus USB and dev input from the map device, so that you will not get any errors. But yeah, we can just do that way, also that way. So yeah, now you see we have been able to just mount that as expected. And so yeah, if I'm just now disconnecting RTL-SDR like that and reconnect, I will be able to re-execute. So let's see that here. Up, up, effect. You can just like do, sorry, not run, but exec like that, mission 4. Let's see. You see, no issues, and we can go. We can have like SDR++ running here, like that, up, and we can play. And so then, yeah, of course, you can use URH, you can use many other tools. So yeah, it's how you can use Podman. But if you want to use C group rules and etc., you should actually mount, you do use sudo. And yeah, I've simplified a lot of things around Podman too. So like that, you can actually play with it. Still, there's like some stuff that I should actually also fix in order for you to, have like something much more simple to use, even for me. Because if it's simple to use for you, it will be also better for me for my case, for example. But yeah, with Podman, you can do like pretty much a lot of things as with Docker now. You can play with the Podman container now without any issue. You can listen to radio. You can just like play with sensors. You can also interact with the radio device. You can also plug any hardware device. You can work on containers that we provide. So thank you very much for watching, and see you for our tutorial.